that you expressed when you were feeling like it was missing something, and it was missing in my life, like these kind of meetings, like with lots of people, like finally after the break. And I hope that all of you really enjoy it. But it's really good to see the community together back again. And welcome. Sorry, Mark, you say something?
No, I think it was a background noise.
Okay, lovely. Sorry.
I think it's
good,
the echo of appreciation, David. Everybody's happy to see you as well.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see you all. Oh, actually, my background is not the proper one. So give me 1 second here.
You're so out of practice, David. Do you need another summer holiday, or?
I literally will need it soon. You will be the first one to know this. So okay, there we go. So thank you so much. I think that many of you know like who we are. We are the Virtual Advisory Board. Many of you are current VAB members. Let me see if you can see my screen, right? And I think that all of you know that we are doing these VAB Academy episodes. Those are like normally for VAB members, but also we have many of you that are guests. And sometimes when you are interested, we navigate with you. And many of you become VAB members. But it's really the intention on bringing the new 2 sessions of the VAB Academy. Luis will explain us like what is the plan for this upcoming second semester. But it's cool that it's the first time that we are launching this also for our friends in the APAC and Middle East sessions. So this one specifically is for the Western Hemisphere, but we're going to have another group for the other part of the world. So there will be in total 18. But before we go there and listen from Luis a little bit about like this new organization, and from Mark, like this first step masterclass, I wanted just like to give like a quick heads up, because it has been like, I don't know, like perhaps like 8 weeks since everybody has been like in their breaks. But first of all, like thank you to all. At the moment, we are with 650 members across 75 countries. That's like super, super, super happy. And for VAB, there's like 2 main things that I wanted to share in this call with all of you that we're doing. One is because we're growing, but we're growing with quality. Remember, you will never, ever see a post or a Google Ads or something like this in the community. It's really curated. So it's not aggregators. So people recommend each other. But there are like 2 key things that we're doing. One, expansion. We're working in expansion. So we're going to announce soon from the 1st of October the new roles of different members that accepted volunteer in a volunteer way to become regional chairs, right? So we are going to have a regional chairperson for Eastern Europe and Central Europe, also for Western Europe. We're growing, and we have, for example, EMAT that we are launching now our Lebanon chapter as well. We are going to have Canada. We're going to have like different places around the globe. So this is a good way that we have been working during the last months, right? And then the other second thing that I wanted to announce is about our VAB platform. So many of you have been providing like, hey, David, super cool that we have, I don't know, like the digest. The last digest number, we put over 30 open positions. And many of you have access to Telegram or to the link tree or like different ways. But what we're going to do now is that we're about to launch, and I expect to have this in the next 4 to 6 weeks, the first pilot test. But we hired a platform that is called Hivebright, that will be like our provider, but the name of our platform will be the VAB community platform. So this will be like your own Facebook, LinkedIn, all in one place, absolutely everything. Next events, opportunities, if you want to post opportunities, it's going to be like super cool as well. And we're going to announce this later. So before we go there, and I'm going to pass it to you, Luis, if we can be like super quick, just like perhaps like 1 minute, just tell us a little bit of what people can expect with a new academy program.
No, it's super delighted to launch this again. It was conceived last year, the end of last year. Every 6 months, we restart a new package of masterclasses as the learning piece for our community. First time it was 6. This year, first half, it was like 9. Now it's 18 sessions. So we're growing more and more by the day, and we're very happy to have VAB members as speakers like Mark and you, David, hosting some of the sessions, since like how to build a strong LinkedIn, a compelling board bio, trends on compensation, trends on private equity boards, trends on AI for boards that our dear John Barker will host. So we're very proud about what you're building, and the platform is growing more and more. So this time we have one oriented for Middle East, North Africa, and APAC, but it's European afternoon, morning São Paulo, morning New York. So everybody that feels comfortable in joining this time zone is always welcome.
Lovely. Thank you, Luis. And many of you know that we are like spread out around the globe. Our mission, vision, values is all super clear in our website, but happy like to have a one-to-one discovery call in our offering, like the 4 main values that we do. The board ecosystem is continue growing, and we are really adding like new added partnerships as well. We have all the channels. I mentioned already about the platforms. Remember that we have the boot camp as well, like going on. We have like already like 4 groups like ongoing. This is a separate program. It's via the Naked Headhunter, but VAB, it's a sponsor there. So there are like 6 sessions. If you are in a moment on transition at a C-level and you want to explore the board space, also let us know. And we have a very, 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 very nice programs until the end of the year. You can see like there are a couple of events, but if you are a VAB member, you already have received the invitations. Also, remember that we're going to have a special bootcamp for those of you advisory board members or board members that are considering perhaps to become keynote speakers, okay? So we have Andrea Iorio, former LATAM team there, country manager, and also he was part of the digital team at L'Oreal here in Brazil. And he's based now in the United States, and he has been running these bootcamps really successful. So we hope that you come. I think that we have like over 100 people like subscribe already to listen about it. In-person events, we're gonna have Singapore. This will not be virtual, sorry, but the other ones are like in Dubai. We're gonna be in Prague next week. Also, we're gonna have Lebanon and Switzerland in Geneva during September. And welcome to Gabriel, that is our newest member experience manager, who will be taking care of the Americas region and Latin America, and he's based in Brazil. So over to you, Mark Hamill. Sorry for making it a bit long, but it was necessary after 8 weeks without like seeing all of you. Thank you, Mark. Over to you.
Thanks, David. That was great. That's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, no, it is fantastic to see everybody again and to be back doing these sessions. It felt like a lot longer. That's great. Luis, you want to crack open the first slides? We're going to take you through the board advisor masterclass. So becoming a board advisor. So Luis, let's crack on. Put up the first. We'll keep this as interactive as possible, guys. Just man the chats. If everybody can put in the chat where they're dialing in from, so we can see the city mix, that would be fantastic. I'm actually with Pavel. I'm in Prague today. Pavel, I presume you're in Prague. I am in Prague today. But if you just drop, yeah. You're in Prague as well. Fantastic. So just pop in the chat where you're dialing in from, and Louise and Saiva and the team will keep an eye on the chat for any questions. Just raise your hand, pop a question in the chat. Super relaxed on that. So look, the section on, when we look at finding your first role, visibility is the first piece. Yeah. So how visible are you? Do people know you're open to be engaged? Most people would be reluctant to ask. You need to let them know, never assume. So look, that's the key bit on that first section. So you need to let and engage your network. When we go back to the stats on likely source of finding your first role, it's 80% likely it's going to come through your network or network's network. Okay, so how you engage your network and get your network to engage their network about who you are, what type of roles you're open to, what your key unique leadership experiences are. That's the #1 factor to attaining and marketing yourself, working on your visibility to find roles and opportunities and work on that flow back into you. So there's a total simplicity to this. It's 20% likely going to come through an executive search firm. It's 80% likely through your network and network's network. Okay, so there is the executive search piece, which we speak about, but primarily it's about how you can engage your network. The single kind of biggest thing people forget is, I presumed people would know, yeah? Or I don't know why people aren't contacting me. So when we go to like LinkedIn later on, we'll look at, how you can maximize your board visibility or boardify your LinkedIn profile. So it's screaming out board advisor, board leader, board member, non-executive director, chairman, getting those roles visible. If it's not for profit, if it's for profit, if it's volunteer, you got to put out there what's relevant and what you've got. Yeah. So letting people know, and particularly if you're transitioning, if you're already in multiple board roles, your network will pretty much assume that you're looking for more board work, or that you're open to, shuffle your portfolio, or you're ready to be engaged for interesting roles. If your network if you're still in a C-suite role and looking to find your first or second board roles, you need to be almost more obvious and really working your network and letting them know that you're open for more. Don't assume they will automatically think you could even take another board role. They mightn't even think of reaching out and saying, hey, would this be an interesting role for you? Are you open for opportunities? You got to reverse that, own that process, and reach out to everybody in your network. Okay. So we go to the next slide, Louise. So again, just an illustration on the 80-20. Yeah. So how can you make your network work for you? I mean, there's a pure simplicity and there is a numbers element behind it. And having kind of been doing this for the last like 5 years, we work almost off, 100. Yeah. So trying to identify 100 key board contacts, board members. And, if you remember the old like business card holders we used to have, or the Rolodexes we used to have, going into those, finding out like previous bosses, when you were a brand manager or you were a trade marketing manager or you were a financial manager or chief accountant, going back into your career and looking at who were the senior leaders, not my boss, but my boss's boss, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. See where those people are now, because they're most likely all sitting in multiple board roles. So you'll already have some kind of warm connection. You mightn't have been a direct report of theirs, but they'll probably know if you mention, look, I used to report to, Jim or whatever, in this period at Procter or whatever the company is. So defining who that list of 100 key contacts are, and you need to be disciplined and focus on, are they decision makers or influencers? So are they able to recommend me as a potential board member, board advisor, or are they able to influence that decision? So are they currently sitting on a board? Are they currently C-suite? Are they currently in chairman positions? And the beauty about this is most people, when they're in their board phase of their career, so no longer in executive roles, they're sitting on multiple boards. Yeah. So it's unlike the executive where you could only have one executive job at a time. In the board space, you can have multiple. And the objective is, as you kind of go from and migrate from your board career, so your executive career to your board career, that you're able to reach out to as many of those people as possible. So getting that network to work for you is incredibly important. Letting them know that you're open, that you're still in an executive role, but looking to add 1 or 2 board roles to your portfolio, or you're finishing your executive career and you're open to explore board conversations, or you already have 2 board roles and you're looking for 3 more. Asking for help, and when we do the elevator pitch session in the boot camp, we talk about this call to action. Who could you recommend? Is there somebody else you could recommend I could talk to? So, how you can really expand. If you've only got 20 kind of board members in your network, how can you make that 40 and then 50 and then 60? So that is really from asking the 20, can they recommend one other person for you to talk to? And then when you get that new 20, who else could they recommend you to? You start expanding those circles, those board circles. And we know, boards are recruited through circles of trust, through recommendation, through referral, primarily. That's the network option. So doing that is incredibly important. Yeah. So never assume, get your network to work for you. Be clear on building out that list and start working that list in terms of like messaging, reach outs, call to action, being explicit in what you're looking for. Okay. Next slide, Louise. I feel a little bit rusty on these slides. It's been too long, Louise. It's been too long. We can't take a summer break next time. We just got to keep going. So look, when we look at this board readiness quotient, so have you ever been a board member before? How did you get your seat? Have you got a board bio? These are just tick boxes for you to kind of work through. Yeah, I mean, yes or no. How did you get the last board seat? If you got it through your network or through some very connected people, again, the illustration is proven. Go back to those people, find more of those people who are Uber connectors. Some people love recommending. Most people love to help. I mean, that's kind of you're not asking somebody for something particularly uncomfortable. If there's a relationship there or a reference point or a shared or trusted contact, people are generally quite happy to help. Yeah. If you're a pain in the ass, not reputable, not trustworthy, people won't. Yeah. But if you're coming from a good place and you have got value you can add, then you can really kind of work that network. Having your board bio at your fingertips, not saying, shit, like let me work on it, I'll send it to you next week. Having one ready, simple one pager. We have some good guidance on what a good board bio looks like. Louise, I don't know if you can share some stuff on the call or you prefer to do it later as follow-ups. I think there's we
have a slide on that, Mark, and we can forward those slides to the participants as well.
Fantastic. That's great. Is your LinkedIn boardified? Again, a couple of tips and tricks on that. Just making sure it speaks and shouts out like board advisor, non-executive chairman. If you don't have those roles, at least that you're interested in those roles, using hashtag functions. David, do you want to come in a little bit and just share like 2 or 3 tips on the LinkedIn boardification?
Sorry, I was talking here by myself and nobody was like listening to me. Sorry, I have a problem here with my charger. Yeah, so there are like 2 things, right? Like we have like the LinkedIn and bio. Like people think that the LinkedIn is just a copy of your CV or like literally like another resume. We have another, and I think this was like the third session in our bootcamp. We had Ahmed Gregoire and John Rose actually. And all of them, like honestly, like they were having like some of the much more incredible LinkedIn profiles, but still they learn a lot. There are like many tips and tricks that we can check. Just remember that this is like to work about like your brand. It's about you. Like your about area, for example, for instance, many people think that they need like to put their achievements and so on. But no, like really, this is boring. And people really wants to know more about like your DNA. What's your mission? How are you gonna be serving? Also, like small things like your banners, like your titles, right? Your elevator pitch is there. Many people just put like, hey, I am an investor, CEO, and board member. But yeah, that's cool. But what do you offer to your audience and what are the services that you are trying like to go? LinkedIn is a lot about having the algorithm, right? Like having like the right words. So if you are looking to become a finance or a risk committee member, you need to put these kind of words there. So there are like many tips and tricks. Like actually, like we have marked around like 3 or 4 different resources that are recorded. If any of you, VAB member or not VAB member, you want to hear about that, we can send it over, and you can have a look. But we have like some specific boot camps, right? Sarah Ann knows this because she's there in some of those, and the boot camp like can allow you like to understand more about this. Mark, I don't know if I answered what you wanted with the LinkedIn.
Perfect, David. It was perfect. It was perfect. So then on the next one we look at, I think great point on like audit committee, finance committee, Rencom committee, getting all those things out there, super important, even if you've had it as an executive in your company, yeah, or through your executive career. Again, it's just about highlighting it, tagging it, making sure it's referenced on your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn is, again, when we talk about doing reach outs, I mean, super simple point. When we talk about reach outs, when you're connecting to those 100 people, you could always check on LinkedIn, you know, who's connected to who, what's the reference. You know, don't forget, a lot of these senior board people don't use LinkedIn to the same degree that the executive community does. So getting an email is really important. You know, having a dual-pronged approach to a LinkedIn in-mail message and an email message, it's very important. So you want to maximize the chances on a conversation, yeah? You know, old school phone call, it's fantastic, yeah? So don't assume because people don't get back to your LinkedIn message, they're not interested. Some people are just not active users at all, particularly in that board space. You know, having said that, the active ones, I think on the stats we ran last year, there was a 32% higher response rate from a LinkedIn in-mail message to a cold email. Yeah, so on a LinkedIn in-mail, if you've got a premium account, you can see exactly who the person is, who you've got connections in common. So you're making it a much warmer approach. So where you have got premium, if you don't, I do recommend you get it. There's a lot of really cool tools around it. But using those, using that is a great way to kind of get those initial conversations going. Yeah, and don't be afraid of rejection when you're reaching out. Look, some people just won't get back. I mean, it's going to be a fact. You're probably talking up to a 30% like non-response rate. Don't be freaked out about it. Expect it's going to happen. Build it into your figures when you're putting your list together. Yeah. So
in addition on that, Mark, and I think that it's like super cool to mention what we just like received feedback from Mateo, right? And Mateo was telling us, like, he was in Mateo and so on. He got one of his new business, or like really one of the best businesses and clients, because one of the guys understood a specific activity and thing that he discovered via his LinkedIn profile under the experience thing. So many people like think that part like doesn't work and so on, but it's just incredible like how like really you can get connected and how people really use LinkedIn with keywords. So it's super important to get all this. You can really make businesses, you can make connections. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, it really just is about finding those connection points. So when we look at your 3 unique leadership experiences, so, you know, individually, they're not necessarily particularly unique. It's the fact that the 3 of them together make your experience unique. So what are the 3 most valuable experiences or expertise that you would bring to a board? So it could be market, it could be vertical, it could be transformational, it could be business type, industry size, industry scale, growth, turnaround, family business, private equity, whatever those combinations are, really trying to figure out, like, what are the 3 things that I enjoy, that I'm bloody good at, and I could bring to a board that's going through a growth phase or a transformational stage. Yeah. So really drilling into your own kind of experiences. If there are things you don't enjoy doing, you know, that's probably a filter. They should be things that you enjoy doing, that you excite you, that you'd happy to apply in a new organization. Yeah. So figuring out what they are, that's homework for you. And it's the combination of the 3 that make your approach quite unique. So when you're doing those reach outs, those other board members, again, it's all about the network. It's all about never assuming. It's all about the constant messaging to key people who can make decisions. What are the 3 things that you do, you know, better than anybody else in your space? And being explicit with that, that's the message you want to take home. In one of the bootcamp sessions, we talk about the elevator pitch. You know, elevator pitch, there's an email type of elevator pitch as well. You know, what are the things people are going to remember, either when you have them on a conversation, when you have them over a coffee, over a beer or a glass of wine, or email? What are the 3 things they want to remember about you? Yeah. It shouldn't be confusing. It should be simple. It should be like market. It should be like vertical. It should be type of growth, type of scaling, type of transformation. So really try to boil those 3 things down, that when people kind of leave that conversation, or, you know, 2 days after having received your email, they can still see that imprint on their head. Shit, these are the 3 things that Stephen's really good at. These are the 3 things that James knows better than anybody else. These are the 3 things that Pavel excels in. So that you want to keep it really, make it easy for them, because you know yourself, if somebody tells you what they're great at, then there's some ones you'll remember, and there's some ones you'll be like, oh crap, I totally forgot like what the hell that person does. Yeah. That's not a good elevator pitch. They haven't given you a good, consistent message. If you can remember, they have. If you like the way they delivered it, then, you know, try to replicate it. Yeah. And they should be like cleared through LinkedIn as well. So really kind of honing in what your messaging is. Yeah. What your impact can be, because board roles, advisory board roles, it's all about impact. Yeah. You're going to get paid $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for 4 board meetings. It's all about your impact. Yeah. So the CEO who's looking to engage you wants to know what is going to be the return on that investment. And you want it to be, you know, 1,000x. Yeah. So you can really impact through credibility, through business connections, through help on fundraising, through help on digitalization, monetization, whatever it is, you can really impact their business. And that's why they will engage you. Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
May I say something on LinkedIn?
Only in Spanish for me.
Just to tell you and to warn all the community. This morning, my LinkedIn account was hacked.
I saw. Yeah. It's crazy.
Offering something crazy to all my 2,500 people in my network.
Yeah.
And the only solution I could find is, so what I'm warning you is, there's a 2-level security system, whatever, and you should take it.
Wow.
because somebody was getting into my account. I was opening a case with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is telling me the only thing they can do is block my account completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they are trying to see if they can like make it live again.
Yeah.
So when you are very active in LinkedIn, I don't know how somebody got into my. I saw it was in Romania, by the way. Somebody. So I was ticking them off and changing my password immediately, but they were faster than me, and they were asking again for a new password. And blah 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 blah. It's crazy. I was talking to somebody in Telefonica in O2 high level, and he told me he has never seen hijacking a LinkedIn account. They have seen it a lot. We have all seen it in on emails, but not in LinkedIn.
Wow.
So take all the security measures they offer you because they are worth. I will when I come back.
Well, keep us posted, Fermin, and buena suerte, and we cross fingers that you get that that account sorted. Super valuable shared experience for me. What a scary moment, because it is so, you know, the professional kind of social media that we all use. Yeah. So that's great. So keep changing your password, I suppose, at a minimum, and maximum we can check out what those double. David, maybe that's something we can put into the LinkedIn bootcamp sessions, like just on the security piece, because that's super scary. Super scary. We all assume
the LinkedIn country manager in Spain told me that he doesn't know if they got directly to LinkedIn or through Hotmail. So it could be either wise. Changing the password every 3 months is healthy, whatever you are doing. Okay.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. There's a lot of people writing in for, appreciating your share there. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
It's pretty easy to activate two-factor authentication on LinkedIn, by the way. So
you can do that easily, Michael. Yeah.
Yes.
It is very easy. Yeah.
So
I didn't know.
If you haven't done it, I would recommend to do it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good. Well, these.
Yeah, but Mark, just here, also offering to any of you, if you want to have hey, honestly, it's impressive how in literally 10 minutes you can really receive great feedback and insights about your LinkedIn. I'm super happy to connect. This is not a sales strategy. It's all the VB members know that we are super transparent. If you want just book a time or just send a message to Luis, we can make it happen. We can come, and in 10 minutes, literally, you can make your profile get much more better with really nice tips there.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Fermin. Muchas gracias. So guys, on the other organizations, other communities for your board awareness, education. So look, if you're alumni like Harvard, INSEAD, London School of Business, make sure you're maximizing those networks, those groups. There's so many board communities out there. VAB is one. There's Board List, there's Board Process, Neural, so many which are kind of regional or more local to your market, to your continent. So again, joining a few, some are paid, some are free, find out which ones work for you, where there is some kind of, where it makes sense in terms of time or cost, but really building out that network is kind of important. Yeah.
And let me jump on that one as well, Mark. Sometimes many people tell me David, are you crazy? You're recommending people to go to other communities and so on. But I think that what people, those that have been with us for the last 4 years, they know, but it's really VAB, it's a facilitator. So we want the success of our members. So if I know about a community like the Boardroom Africa in Africa, and I can support people like Sarah Ann or Linda and some people that we have connected, let's do that. Or Diversify in India. It doesn't matter how, but I think that the big differential with VAB, it's really that we are, I'm sorry to say that, but I really believe that, the only player that is really understanding how the global ecosystem operates. So if you want it's not that Mark and I were going to place you in Brazil, but definitely we can connect you with the right people that understand about boards in Brazil, in the 6 hubs that we're operating in the 70 countries. So I think it's important to enhance that, but definitely, Mark, being part of the board ecosystem is one of the key things to succeed as you build your journey.
Yeah, and I think it's basically understanding that, people who sit on board roles most likely sit on multiple board roles. There mightn't be an opening on the specific board that you reached out to them for, but getting them to go, oh, you know what, actually on this other company I sit on, we are looking to replace or bring in or recruit a new board member. Let me connect you there with that chairman or that CEO. So I think really important to kind of look at every conversation you can have with another board leader is enriching your network. It's an opportunity to take your story, communicate it to somebody else. And that's just planting the seed about the next conversation. Yeah?
Well, what would be lovely, and I was just thinking here, and sorry, Imad, if I called you just on the spot, but I know that last week you got, or like 2 weeks ago, you got a board position via one of the intros that we made with a company, but also you sent me an email that, by the way, I need to respond to you, where you're asking me for board members in Kenya. I don't know if you wanted to share a little bit about like this experience. And sorry, Mark, if that's okay for you to bring Imad and just like to hear a little bit like your experience on this part of networking, Imad.
Hi, David, Mark. Hello, everyone. So
hey, man.
Definitely through one of the partners of VAB, which is Board All, I got the opportunity to be a board member in one of the organizations. And today we had a meeting, and through the meeting, we are looking for a board member who's Kenyan or based in Kenya. And the first thing I thought of is going back to VAB and looking into our members to see if someone would be interested. So definitely, this is where the added value is, because the first thing I thought of, instead of thinking of where would I go, the only place I thought of was VAB, because this is what makes sense, because VAB facilitated for me the opportunity to get this to get this board to get this board role, and yeah, it's part of me giving back of thinking who of our members could be interested. So I reached out to you exactly today by email saying, do we know anyone? Because this is a priority for me.
Well, this is like live board recruitment here, Imad. Sarah Ann has already like put her name in first, so that's fantastic. That's fantastic. We'll make sure you guys are connected. Yeah, perfect. Thanks for sharing, Imad. That's really appreciated. A super story, and delighted that you're enjoying that new board opportunity. Thanks for sharing your story. So guys, look, I think at a minimum level, my recommendation is, like, whatever board communities you're involved in, if you're doing it yourself or you're doing it through community, or like a hybrid, partial community, partial yourself, which is probably the best way to do it, you should look to invest at least 5 hours a month in terms of like building out your outreach, starting your connection. So again, if you want to remember a few numbers from this call, it would be 5 hours a month, 100 board level contacts, and just start reaching out to those people consistently. Keep the message consistent, try to refine it, focus on the unique leadership experiences, try to keep it memorable, work on an elevator pitch so you have a model that you can talk if you get a chance to meet people face to face, and have your email version as well. Yeah, check your LinkedIn, have your board bio. So it's like 5 or 6 things, and then you're going to be off to a great start. Yeah. What have we got next, Louise? Starting your board portfolio. So look, this is super important, and we're going to talk a little bit afterwards. Like, you can't just expect to go from, a mid-sized environment to sit on the corporate board of like Coca-Cola. Yeah. So you have to look at fit. Yeah. And fit goes both ways. Yeah. So you need to fit that organization at that particular juncture or that particular transformational moment, and they need to be a fit for you. So you got to keep it realistic in terms of, look, there's no bullshit about it. Like, you have the experiences you've got. Yeah, you have your unique experiences. They're real, they're true. They're things you've delivered upon. They're transformations, processes, impact that you've already brought to organizations. So it's really like an inflection on, look, this is what I've done. Which of the companies out there currently need me in terms of those experiences? And that's what you need to start mapping out. So don't expect to sit on a publicly traded listed board if you've no relevant experience. If you have, phenomenal. If you don't, try to find that equivalence, try to find that equality where you could look at the fit, where that synergy really is. So how do your unique experiences fit with CEOs and businesses that are currently going through or about to go through? So if it's, you've sat in marketplace build or digitalization, which consumer companies out there are early stage on their digitalization marketplace build process? How can you find that out? Yeah, so how can you figure out? So there are questions you need to ask your network. Look, do you know any CEOs who are currently exploring digitalization or building marketplace? Because this is my expertise. Yeah, I'd love to be able to help some of those organizations. So asking your network, engaging your network on who are people I should talk to once you've identified your unique leadership experience. It's a fantastic way to start finding out who those people are. You can do your own desk research on LinkedIn. You can get a researcher to help you do some mapping. There's loads of ways you can kind of figure it out, but it is about keeping it like relative. Yeah. So if you got a recruitment background, who are the recruiters out there who are looking to grow internationally? Because I could have a competent conversation where worst case, it's a nice conversation with that CEO about my particular experiences. Yeah. It may go further, but worst case, it's a nice conversation where I can share my experience. Yeah. So, find what's equivalent where the matches are. Yeah. Next slide, Louise. Yeah, I mean, look, board roles are not for life. Yeah, tenure is reducing, so don't be afraid to get stuck in. I mean, look, the beauty about advisory board roles in particular is if you stop adding value and it stops being fun for you, I mean, you just say thanks, but now it's time to move on. I mean, it's not like, resigning as being a CFO or a CEO of a business. It's much less complicated. It is more like transactional and impact based. If you feel this is no longer fun, or you don't like the direction or the change, or you feel it's boring, or you just can't add value anymore, or you've been in for a year and you've delivered great impact for that CEO, which is hopefully the case, but now that process is kind of done, then look, it's time to start getting your network active again in terms of new opportunities. Yeah. And again, typically we're looking at advisory boards. It's 4 meetings a year with a monthly check-in to that CEO. Yeah. So that's your time commitment in most cases. And 4 of those meetings, 2 might be virtual, 2 might be face-to-face. You've got more hybrid systems going on. What that allows you also to do, and that's why when we set up VAB, it was during COVID. I mean, it's a COVID baby. So the world was all connected through technology. Yeah. So geographically, there were much less restrictions. So you could sit on a board if you were in Sydney, in Santiago, in Singapore, in Seattle. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So as long as you're able to wake up early in the morning or stay up late at night, time zone specific is the only impact. So there's a lonely CEO somewhere in the world. There's many lonely CEOs in different parts of the world needing people with your unique leadership experiences. You just got to figure out how to find them. Yeah. And reach out and connect, share what you're good at, what you enjoy. And if there's a possibility to collaborate, the cost of an advisor versus the impact that advisor can bring, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. So you just got to find out who are the people out there. And we feel that there's such a community around businesses between, 25 and $250 million turnover, pounds, dollars, euros, whatever. They're the ones who really need the advisors because they've either gone from 0 to 25 and now they're looking to go from 25 to 50 or from 25 to 75. That's a whole new level of capability needed, a whole new level of advisory, shared experience, proven expertise and leadership that you want to have around you as a CEO. So they're great levels to start finding who are those CEOs, 15 to 30 million at the moment, because they're going to need to have or build out their advisory board going forward. Yeah. So the tenure bit, look, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Don't be like put off by it. Get stuck in, try to get the experience. If it feels great, you roll on with it. If not, look, you can hold your hand up and both sides can say, look, this was great for a while, but I think now we're kind of done. Yeah. So finding those multiple conversations, there's a total honesty and transparency to advisory board work. It is all about impact. Yeah. Next slide, Louise. Guys, pop some questions in the chat. We're going to go to Q&A in a couple of minutes. So any questions, just shout, let the guys know what you want to ask, and we'll go to those in a couple of minutes. So it's important that when you do start getting into that kind of advisory board like space, and either, like I said, you're already like finished with your executive career and you're looking to really just build up paid for advisory board work. And look, in VAB, we focus on paid for advisory board work. It's not to say that not-for-profit or NGO volunteer advisory board work, it's phenomenal. Like, I'm full of like praise for people who want to do that. The space we focus on is the paid for board space. You know, expertise should be paid for, in my belief. So we don't even do a lot in the startup space. But there can be great experience to be had there. So you might want to have 1 or 2 roles, one not-for-profit, an area or hospital or institution that you're passionate about. You might want to have one startup that you know, just it's totally in your sweet spot. It's a great connection with that CEO. But be careful about the creep on not or unpaid for advisory board stuff, because certainly you can have a portfolio of 4 or 5 and there's no income coming in. It's all either startup with a long-term potential, like equity piece if successful, or not for profit. So just be conscious of your time, because it can creep and you can get really stuck into a lot of unpaid for stuff. If that's all you want to do, wonderful. If you do want to focus on, look over, and this is this board build plan, it's important to recognize this is about saying, look, I want to earn, you know, 250,000, 300,000, 350,000 pounds, dollars, euros from my board portfolio per year. What should that look like? Is that, you know, 1 privately held company board, 1 family office board, 1 private equity backed board, and I want to build that up in year 3 to year 5 to have 1 listed company, 1 larger corporate, $1 billion plus company board. So there's different pay grades for each of those types of organizations. So you might say, look, year 1, I want to earn 100,000. It's going to be my first year as an advisor. I want to have 2 privately held company boards, 18 to 30 million pounds, dollars, euros turnover. Average comp there is 48, 50,000 pounds a year. I'm going to be good like that for the first year. Then in year 2, I want to keep those 2, and I want to add in, you know, a family office or family business board where it's 70 to 90,000 compensation. And then I want to have a private equity board in year 3, and that's going to add in another, you know, 80,000. Or I want to be the chairman of a PE-backed business. It's going to add in another 100,000. So there I've got now my 2 privately held. I've got my 1 family business board. And I've got my 1 PE-backed board. That's going to give me an overall comp based on average compensation at the moment of about 300,000 pounds, dollars, euros. That's where I want to get to. So it doesn't happen necessarily overnight. You can kind of lean into it and build out. Then it's again about reflecting that back into your networking. So don't expect to get a private equity backed board if you've only got a narrow network in the private equity space. Yeah. So, okay, that might be the reality now, but over the next 6 months, you might say, look, my objective is on my networking, on my reach outs, I need to talk to 30 private equity principals, partners, investors, yeah, in my vertical, in my space, globally. And then you start that reach out program and you start filtering through those conversations. So it's setting the objective, being realistic with it in terms of the equivalence where you can really add value, and having a 3-year kind of play. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to lean into it. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen in 6 months. It can happen in 3 months. But it is about the activity. Yeah, you got to get out there. Yeah. And having a board build plan just gives you some kind of overview of, look, this is my longer term, my short, mid, long-term objectives for my board career. Okay. What have we got next, Louise? I think we got a little bit on the... Okay, so this was exactly what I spoke about, yeah. So the example we gave there... Oh, you went a bit too fast there, Louise. You know, you could possibly manage, I think we say there, look, just for guidance, if you're in a full-time board portfolio build, you know, 5 to 7 roles at a particular time. Again, there might be variance in commitment, in meeting frequency. Again, normally we said it's like 4 meetings a year with a monthly check-in to that CEO. There might be greater frequency, again, depending on the organization, yeah. We looked at that example here, 1 advisory role in a 100 million tech business, advising the CEO on international growth, 1 advisory role on a 30 million ed tech business, advising on scale and exit. And there's two examples how you can get up to kind of 200K, you know, again, based on kind of our research data on compensation. Yeah. We do have a dedicated on the bootcamp, a pure compensation conversation on both exec and non-exec. So you can really see by region, by industry, because there are differences if you're real estate, finance versus healthcare, education. So there are variances across industry, company size, company type. You know, we can plot out some averages, but there are some like distinct variances there. So when we say your board build plan, I said 100 earlier on. If you start with 75 is a great number. Break it down into your chairman in your network, CEOs in your network, and advisors, current non-execs in your network. So look, it's a simple way to kind of split it. You can bump it up to 30 if you like, and get specific. So, you know, businesses at 100 million in revenue, in 3 years, we're probably at about 20, 25 million now. So who are those CEOs of 20 million tech businesses right now that you could help on that growth curve from 20 to 100 million? Yeah, you can get them at 100 million as well, but being part of that voyage, because you know at a 20 million inflection, they're going through a lot of kind of pain, a lot of new experiences. Their need for advisors is probably greater. It's a great starting point in those kind of, you know, don't do zero revenue, or you can do the not-for-profit, like we said. But if you want to get into the paid-for space, you know, go more where there is revenue, where there is a certain kind of business scale. It's just easier for them to kind of pay the checks and pay the engagement. Yeah. What we got next, Louis? I think we're just coming up to the last couple of minutes. Look, we spoke a little startup board versus scale up board. If you want to go in on an equity deal or a cash plus equity or just a pure cash, that was a session we had with James Chung. It's a new date, Louise? Yeah, we're doing that again. Sure.
We did
one of the best sessions. Yeah,
on October 3rd.
James is a fantastic resource. What else have we got then, Louise? Yeah, we got Ivan, you know, one of our most sought after kind of resources. Ivan, YPO member, incredible masterclass he gave last year on a family board versus a private equity backed board. That's on December 12th. Thank God I don't have to do these, Louise. That's just good news to me. Yeah, that's fantastic. much smarter and more attractive people there. Quick glance on board compensation. What have we got here, Louise? This is a new slide. You're going to tease me with a new slide.
The board compensation, we have the materials, we have the boot camp. So the VB members, we can send the PDF.
Yeah, we can send the documents. Yep. Exactly. Perfect. And look, the thing on board comp, it's going up. Yeah. So advisory board, paid for board work compensation, it's only going up. Yeah. So the trend will continue. So just as an example, last year, average compensation, Europe and US for advisory board was $48,000, euros, pounds per year. That's typically like a quarterly invoice of 12,000, 12,500. And that's going to be for your one meeting and your monthly check-in. So one monthly check-in per month. I'm losing my English. So a monthly call with the CEO, a quarterly like meeting for your 48,000. That'd be like typical kind of 20 million to 50 million kind of size compensation. Yeah, and then it kind of incrementally creeps up. Yeah. So what else we got, Louise? Look, there's some resources to have a look at. Yeah, the 5 hours per month. I think that's kind of, if you're going to be serious about it, you need to put some time into it. Don't expect it just to happen overnight. There's some great resources that we've, you know, friends, partners of VAB that we list here that you can have a look at. You know, if you have got somebody in your network who's an experienced board advisor, chairman, you know, spend time with them, you know, get some shared learning, shared experience for them. And look, fill in your board build plan. And ultimately, the same thing we started with, look, network. Every conversation you have is an opportunity to let your network know what you're good at, what you like to do. And having that as concise and refined as possible is just going to make it memorable And it's just that butterfly effect. What you want to have is that every conversation, every email that goes out while you're on this like mission to build up your portfolio is, look, what have I left behind? What are the memorable bits of information I've left behind? What is that person taking into their network? Because what you want to trigger is, you know, I had a great conversation with Fermin last week. You tell me about his fucking LinkedIn, like heartache, but he also said, like, he's amazing at these 3 things. I've just met with somebody in my network in Singapore. They need somebody with that experience. I'm going to connect Fermin straight away. Yeah. So that's what you're trying to create. Yeah. Again, going on that 80% of boards are recruited through network, trusted circles. So breaking into those circles is incredibly important. Yeah.
Mark, we have a question of Tarek. I don't know if Tarek wants to jump and ask about certifications.
Yeah.
Hey, Tarek.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Fantastic. And you?
Good. Thanks for today. Listen, just a quick question. Do board certifications matter really in the process?
Yeah. Look, that's a great question, Tarek. It comes up very often. In my experience, no. We've never done a search where there's been a requirement for a certain certificate. If it's like high value, Harvard, INSEAD, London School, look, they're great things to do. Yeah, if you have the time and the money, it's great networking. So the kind of cohort, alumni, association bit can be wonderful, but it's nice to have rather than a must have. Yeah, it's your core experience over your 25-year career, what you've battled, what you've won, your ability to be vulnerable, to share, to work with that CEO through their moments of difficulty. That's what's going to set you apart rather than, the bit of paper. I'm not undervaluing it. It can be a lot of fun. It can add a lot of value, but I've never seen it as a requirement. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, may I comment?
Of course.
So I do serve on the board of a private company, and it was clear that one of the things they valued was that I had obtained private company governance certification from the Private Directors Association.
Yeah, that's a great point, Steve. Yeah.
And they actually asked me in the first meeting to present on company governance, even though they knew this was the first board I was sitting on for a company. I had been on nonprofits before, so I think for people who have served on boards, I totally agree with what you're saying. That certification isn't going to be so valuable. Companies are going to be much more interested in your board experience. But for any members who have not yet served on company boards and are looking to do so, I think there could be some benefit to that. So at least companies understand you have some knowledge about what's going on.
Fabulous point, Steve. Fabulous point.
In addition on that, Mark, and I know that we have short time, but also what VEB can help and supports many of you is on which certification do I need. Like many people think that I need the Harvard one or INSEAD for $30,000. Perhaps not. Perhaps there are like some other members, and that's the idea in the community. And we have, we have associations with Harvard University. We are associated with the University of Reading, with Henley University Business School, also with competent boards. I am literally today I took my session number 8 out of 20 to get a certification in climate change. And it was incredible. It was like the president of LATAM, that is like the biggest airline in Brazil, was there, and she's like the board member at Boeing, the planes industry and so on. And I think that it's exactly what Mark is saying. I think it's important to have the certification, but not necessarily that you need to go for this $30,000-$40,000, right? Like perhaps there's other ways for you to get certified as well. We have Advisory Board Century, a fantastic organization in Australia that they do the certification for chairperson. Okay, so it's quite interesting, the space. Anyways, my contribution. Thank you, Mark.
No, fantastic. Well, Dave, I think Louise, is that? I think we're done. To the final slide.
We have some spoilers on the next one that is for David, the Board Ready LinkedIn Masterclass, the Board Bio one, and then open for questions. Yeah.
I'm gonna share my screen here, just super quick, because I think that you, Mark, were talking about the difference between Board Bio and LinkedIn and so on. It will take me 1 minute. This was actually over today's, and let me know if you can see my screen, guys.
Yep.
Sorry. This was like this morning presentation.
I can see you filling in a job application, David. That's
Yeah, exactly. I'm very sorry. I'm looking for a new partner now. So you have the CEO top LinkedIn tips. Like there are like different things that you can like get advice. Like these are like things that we run in our boot camps. But what is the difference? Like one thing is that we talk about you having a CV, you having a and another thing, but this is a board bio. Like when a person really, many boards that are asking us like to build and to support them to find talent, this is what we send. Like Mark and myself, like with the team, we work this for everybody. For some people that you are live in the call, like we are doing it. But this is in a one pager. How do you share your career journey? A little bit about like your main achievements. What are you trying like to build? Where have you been? So this is a board bio, and this is completely different. Of course, like VAB, and just for you to know, and again, like not sell, but I'm just mentioning, VAB offers these services. If you wanted to know, we can build this for VAB members. I think it's like $900, something like this, and not VAB members is a little bit more. But still, you have like some efficient tools where we partner with, like Equilar. Equilar is fantastic. It's a board organization and leaders that support NASDAQ companies, more than 3,000. And there is a way that the VAB members also, we have a relation with them that you can be part of the ecosystem and you can get this board bio. And you don't need like to pay absolutely nothing, right? It's a different style. It's not, it's done with AI, but it's quite interesting. But the biography and CVs are completely different of a normal LinkedIn. Okay, I just wanted like to add on that, Luis, if that's okay. And I think that's all from my side, Luis.
Fantastic.
And just reinforcing about the bootcamps, I think that Luis, just like in case that anybody is struggling or wanting to understand, if it's either for transition, either for your board career, or anything else that you want to understand, just book the call and we can put like tailor-made what would be what you need. The next two groups for the boot camp, I think it's on the 5th and the 9th of October. So we have still like some places that are available. Thank you, Luis.
I'm going to send everything to all participants, all the details, all the slides. So if you didn't book a call, more than happy, add me on LinkedIn and we can move forward. But I'm going to send all the information to everybody via email or LinkedIn. So stay tuned.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And just answering here, like, Sarah, no worries. I will give you the board certification there. So Saiba is in the call. We're going to send you the information in Advisory Board Center and a very nice report. I'm going to send you to your WhatsApp in a bit. And also with Brita, you can talk with any of us, with Saiba, with Luis, with me, David, with Mark, about anything with David.
And Dave, we got another call on Thursday, isn't it? Same content, another call on Thursday. It'll obviously be so much better on Thursday.
Yeah,
so apologies to everybody who just joined today.
Lovely.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much. Great to see everybody. Reach out. Don't be shy. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Bye.